What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thanks for watching. Our cameraman is currently on his way out here as we speak. So I figured I would just go ahead and get started and show you guys what we got today. Now, we have done quite a few videos on air rifles at this point, and a lot of you guys really seem to enjoy those videos. So today we have another one, and this just might be the most interesting air rifle we've had yet. This is the AEA Megalodon 50 cal pump action air rifle. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with pump action shotguns. If you are, you probably recognize the pump right there underneath the barrel. This thing operates in a very similar way, except of course it runs off air, not gunpowder. It uses these little magazines. You put your rounds in there, load it into the rifle, and then you can pump your way through until it runs dry. Now, for those of you that don't know, there are some benefits air rifles have over firearms, mainly the paperwork and classification. There's no forms to fill out, no waiting periods, background checks, stuff like that. So if you have a criminal record or you live in a state with strict gun laws, it should not prohibit you from owning one of these. In most places, I should clarify, there are some states now that are even restricting these, but for the most part, they are not considered a firearm. These air rifles are getting ridiculous at this point. Every time we get one, I feel like it's just cooler and better than the last. And I've actually never tried a pump action air gun before, so I'm excited to see what it can do. Let's shoot it. All right, guys, very first shots. I'm actually going no ear pro for this. I want to hear how loud this thing actually is. They're usually not quite as loud as a gun, but not the quietest thing either. So we'll see how it sounds. Like I said, this is the AEA Megalodon. It shoots a 50 caliber projectile. You can see them right there in the magazine. The mags go in the top of the receiver, just like that. And then the chamber around, you pull the pump forward. So we have an air tank on bottom, second air tank in the stock, safety, trigger, pump. That's about it. Our air gauge is over here. It's on about 4,000 PSI now, so we'll see how that lasts. Typically, you can only expect a few shots out of these. They use so much air to get that velocity that it doesn't last very long, but we'll see how it does. Steel might not be the smartest thing to shoot, but we'll go ahead and try it. Very first shot. That is a powerful air gun. Rack the pump, chamber another round. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. So the recoil's definitely there. It's not bad, but it feels like you're shooting a powerful gun. That's for sure. The action is surprisingly smooth, very easy to pump. You know, feels like it's working well. I like it. This thing is awesome, dude. Loud, that's for sure, but it is absolutely awesome. Okay, it looks like after 7 or 8 rounds, our air gauge went from 4,000 PSI down to 3,000 PSI. Don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it's actually still right in the middle of the green. So it didn't take quite as much air as I thought it would. Magazine ran flawlessly. You can see it is empty. I will say, I love AEA air guns. The one complaint I've always had is the magazine construction. They just feel like they're made out of a really brittle plastic. I don't foresee any issues with this because it is a pump action rifle, but with their semi-autos, I have broken a couple of these mags. There are good aftermarket mags you can get, but I think for the price, you should probably get one in the box. Other than that, I freaking love this thing. Let's shoot it again. All right, guys, our cameraman has arrived. We got 8 more rounds. Let's see if we can hit some targets. I want to thank thepelletshop.com for sending this out. I forgot to do that in the beginning of the video. As always, I appreciate their support. Let's see if we can hit some targets with it. Nicked it. By the way, this is not zeroed, so I have no idea where it's going. I'm just kind of point shooting it. Smallest target. Finish them off on the steel. By the way, this would probably be a good time to tell you, sometimes these airgun bullets come back with authority, so good luck. It's powerful. I wasn't sure if I would hit any of these targets because I haven't zeroed the optic, but we got them. Honeydew melon is completely exploded. And where's our soda can? I think it just got completely evaporated. Took the label off of it. Never seen that before. Well, I had a spray paint can that I meant to shoot with our first 4 targets, but I forgot, so we'll go ahead and take it out. That worked. That sounded like a missile going off. Did you hear that? Maybe your ear pro might have dampened it, but it made like a pew, like a rocket sound whenever I shot that spray paint can. Poison ivy everywhere. I think I'm immune to poison ivy at this point. But oh yeah, that definitely did the job. One of the gnarlier spray paint can explosions I've ever heard. Cool. In all seriousness, did you hear that? The pew, you didn't hear it? Whew. You will on video, hopefully. All right, we weren't gonna do this, but we decided to come out to about 50 yards and see if we can hit a steel target. I've got 8 rounds in the magazine, 8 opportunities. We'll see if we can do it. By the way, the velocity on this is around 900 feet per second, I believe, so. It's screaming. Let's see if we can hit it. Okay, I think I'll take that and quit while I'm ahead. We'll go ahead and see if we can hit a couple more. It does feel like the air starts to decrease as you go through the magazine, just a little bit, but we'll see. Smoked it. I knew that was gonna happen. There we go. All right. Well, at least at 50 yards, that seems to be pretty accurate. It's not the furthest shot in the world, but for an air rifle, I think that kind of proves the point. I just knew I was eventually gonna miss one of those targets if I kept shooting, so. Oh well, what did we get? 3 out of 4, something like that? Not too bad. All right, I figured we'd go ahead and show you guys how we fill this thing up. So for the first couple years I was shooting air guns, I used to go to paintball courses and have them fill up my rifles. But I found this on Amazon. It's a GX pump, and I think it was like $300 or $400. You hook it up to your battery terminals, and you can fill up air guns out on the range. It's not quite as fast as, you know, the big ones, but it works. So you put your fill probe right in the air tank, just like that. Make sure it's hooked up. There we go. Close the bleed valve. It's loud. So right now it's at about 3,500 PSI. Hopefully you can hear me over the loud air pump, but we want to get it up to about 4,500. Most air rifles take like 5 to 8 minutes. I've noticed this one takes a little bit longer, sometimes 10 to 15 minutes. Not sure why. It's not the fastest pump in the world, but it does do the job. All right, guys, we got one final target, a ballistic dummy lab head. I've got my gloves on because, as you can probably see, this one is incredibly moldy. It arrived with the ballistics gel messed up. So it's been sitting in the box for like 3 months. This is not gonna be quite as scientific as the other ones because it's mostly skull, but we gotta get rid of it somehow. Let's try the air gun. All right, we got 2 50 cal hollow points in the magazine. We should only need 1. My cameraman here called our ballistic dummy head a skinhead, which I think is pretty fitting. Let's see what it does. Straight through. It did not explode like they typically do with a rifle, but I think that is a lethal headshot. Try to pick it up here. there's the entrance hole right there. It's dripping all over me. And that is the exit hole. It might have come out the temple right there. Kind of hard to tell. If it came out at all, I assume it did. That's a pretty heavy bullet. I'm almost wondering if the bullet is in there and it just hit the other side of the head and knocked that bone off. I do see a little hole right there, so maybe at least one fragment got through, but the rest of it might be in there. I'm not sure. Well, unfortunately, we were not able to find the bullet. We looked on the ground for like 20 or 30 minutes and could not locate it. But I'm actually very impressed with that result. I think it showed us how effective these air rifles can be. Not a round you would want to be shot with. And speaking of effectiveness, I actually just had my first personal experience with an air rifle the other day. So I let my dog outside and she did not come back to the door like she normally does. So immediately I knew something was up. I went out there and in between her legs was a rabbit that she had caught. It wasn't completely unalived, but it was pretty dang close. My dog is an absolute assassin when it comes to animals in the yard. So I thought the best thing I could do is put it out of its misery. So I went inside and grabbed the Terminator 9mm air rifle that we've had on the channel. Probably quite a bit less powerful than this one, honestly. And when I put that rabbit out of its misery, let me tell you, there was nothing left but a pink mist. Gnarly story, I know, but it does tell you how effective these things can actually be. All right, guys, that is the AEA Megalodon 50 cal pump action air rifle. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Again, I want to thank thepelletshop.com for sending this out. I really appreciate that. And this might be one of the coolest air rifles we've ever had. It is pump, it's not a semi-auto like the Terminator was, but it is very powerful. It's a much bigger caliber and it was 100% reliable. There were no issues with the pump. I was kind of skeptical on that because it's an air rifle, not a shotgun, but it worked perfectly. And honestly, it feels really good. And I think I could be almost just as fast with this as I could with the semi-auto. Plus, Megalodon might be the coolest air rifle name I've ever heard in my life. So I'm a fan. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. As always, I'd be glad to hear from you. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button for me, guys. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.